Hi friends, in the Corporate Communication and Public Relations unit number 2, Understanding Public Relations, we had seen 2 units, namely Fundamentals of Public Relations, where we saw the meaning, definition, essentials, objects, scope, significance and the reasons for the growth of public relations. And in the second video, we had seen the emergence of public relations, that is, tracing the growth of public relations in India, and the reasons for emerging international public relations. Today, in this video, that is unit number 2, C part, we are going to cover up public relations environment, where we'll be looking into the various issues, that is the social and the cultural issues, the economic issues, the political issues and the legal issues, all these which affect the public relations. Let us first understand what are these social issues. Now, the social issues consist of various sub-variables like the social system, the social issues, the social factors and the other factors. The functions and the decisions of public relations are influenced by internal and external environment. The internal environment is generated within the organization, which influences in the decision making of public relations. They are controllable factors and comprise of personal, infrastructure facilities, organizational facilities, etc. The external factors is not under the control of the organization. It may include the competition, it may include the industry, the problems, the threat of the substitute, the social cultural factors, the political factors, the economic factors and many other factors which are external related to an organization. They are uncontrollable. Now, coming up to your social issues, we first have the social system. Now, the social issues of a particular country in which a business is operating, it cannot be ignored. Now, if you are doing a business in America, you have to think about the American culture, the American environment. If you're doing it in Australia, the Australian environment. If you do in Canada, it's Canadian environment. If you do in India, it's the Indian environment. The influence of the social and the cultural environment of business is enormous and dynamic. The social system prevailing in a country decides, encourages, directs and controls business activity of a country. A social system with high degree of civilization, mobility, industrialization and urbanizations are primary factors that impact on the business. Now, let us see what are the social issues. The social issues have a bearing on the business. That refers to all the social factors which have a bearing on the functioning of a business enterprise. Now, business depends on the social environment for all the needed inputs. Every business has to depend upon the social issues to sell the finished products. Therefore, the dependence of business on the social and cultural aspects is wide and multidimensional, and it is not surprising because it is rightly said business is one unit of the total social system. Then you come up to your social factors which influence a business. These are referred to social issues which are external to a business. They are beyond the control of a business enterprise and hence called uncontrollable social issues. The specific social issues may include custom, wage, usage, tradition, cultural heritage, family systems, religion, and so on. Next, we come up to the other factors. Now, other factors of the social nature impacting on the business, they include what? The social behavior of the customer, the color, community, nationality, language, political ideologies, immigration and migration and the cross-cultural issues. Next we come up to the social issues. Culture as a powerful segment of the society that holds great significance to business. Why? Because it is the culture which decides the ethos of the people. A culture includes what? Knowledge, belief, art, law, customs, habits, fashions, and other variables which indicate the entire life of the people. We have got the language and the culture, the spoken words, the written words, the communication channels. All these are included in the cultural issues. Healthy public relations are possible through social intercourse among the people. An effective public relationship is not possible in an environment of doubt, suspicion, fear, insecurity, aggressiveness, dominance, exploitation, terrorism, militancy, attitude of hated communal disharmony, lack of friendly relations, etc. These are not at all favorable for public relationship. Next we come up to your economic issues. Now what are these economic issues? They are the external economic issues, the microeconomic factors, and the other areas of economic issues. Economic conditions, economic policies and economic systems are the important external economic issues which constitute the economic environment of a business, greatly impacting the decision-making capacity of a business organization. The nature of the economy, the level of the economic development, economic resources, and the distribution of the income, etc. are important issues of a business strategy. Then we come on to the micro factors. The major micro factors which have a considerable influence on business may include growth strategy, economic system, economic planning, economic reforms, fiscal policies, national income, per capita income, and so on. Next we come on to what are the other areas of economic issues. The other areas of economic issues include labor legislations, industrial relations, stock exchange, its regulations, commodity exchange and its regulations, concentration of economic power, price policy, exit policy, export promotions, and so on. Now, the public relations should be well versed with all these economic issues and study each factor affecting the economic issues meticulously for taking his PR decisions. Next we come up to your political issues. Now, what are the variables in the political issues? The relationship. It is evident that there is a close relationship between political issues and business. In any country, the government itself is a political body created by a political system. Like business, the government also has a social purpose which are effectively regulating business transactions. There are a number of business legislations enacted by political government which are effectively regulating business transactions. In many cases, the government policies are implemented through legislations, policy documents, statement policies and 5 years plan. So there is an evident that there is a good relationship of the PR with the political parties. The political system impacting on the business are enormous, particularly in the changing and present socio-economic scenario of the country. Therefore, political environment of a business is to be considered to successfully carrying on the business. A particular political party ruling in a country formulates the policies which decides, promotes, encourages, protects, assists, directs, and it all controls the business operations from time to time. So PR has to be well versed with the political system. Then you have the importance of the opposition party, which cannot be neglected. The importance of opposition party in the legislation cannot be ignored, which is equally influences the business. It is because of the fact that opposition parties can check and criticize the policies of the ruling party, which are detrimental and prejudicial to the progress of the business. Bureaucracy, that also cannot be avoided by the PR. In any form of political government, bureaucracy plays a crucial role in the implementation of political policies. The elected representatives may come and go, may change from time to time, but the administration must function without break. It is bureaucracy that goes for ever through the political people may come and go. So it occupies an important role in the implementation of the policy. Here again, your relationship with the bureaucrats will play an important role. For successful PR professional, it becomes necessary to take the stock of the prevailing political environment and then formulate strategies to avail of the opportunities emerging out of a political party. Then you come up to what are the legal issues that affects the public relations. Now, legal environment constitute an important dimension of business and therefore forms an indispensable part of public relations curriculum. All businesses are conducted in an environment which has several dimensions. One of the dimension is the legal dimension, where the legislature is a major player. Over the year, rule of law and its implementation has increased, and it has taken over the responsibility of not only regulating the business but also assume the role of economic development and progress. So it is indispensable. You have to work within the legal framework of the government. Business legislatures. Now, legal mechanisms greatly influence business in many types. It is the duty of law to regulate both economic and non-economic issues, which are often referred to as business legislation. Sometimes, in the interest of the society, the government may take some regulatory anti-business measures in the national interest to curb the activity. I'll give you a simple example. The COVID-19 examples of testing, where the private laboratories were charging around 4,500. The government intervened lately and brought into the charges to around about 2,500. So there is a cap that the government has put in the interest to curb the activities of these private laboratories. The latest one is again the demonetization to replace old 500 denomination note with the 1000 denomination notes. Then you come up to the social welfare. The field of Indian business legislatures has widened enormously as the government of India at various levels has shown concerns towards social welfare and maintaining balance between the interested groups. There are several acts passed by the central government and the state government to show that they jointly share the responsibility of economic progress. Next is the constructive role in this relationship. The legislations influence functioning of public relations activities in many ways. It is the responsibility of the legal mechanism to take social and economic issues, which are often referred to as legal environment of a profession. It is necessary that relationship between public and business services grow without confrontation. Public relations professionals now have to take keen interest in legal aspects affecting the performance of the functions and have to adopt a constructive role in this relationship. Knowledge of law, very essential for a public relations officer. Knowledge of law is a must for any public relations officers to effectively discharge his specialized and professional function. Today, every organization functions in a legal environment which has several dimensions. In this environment, there are a number of legislations. Over the years, many legislations have been passed and their intervention in the functioning of the organizations have increased, and it has taken over the task of not only regulating but also assume the role of social responsibility. The impact of legal environment upon the subject of public relation is of vital importance, and therefore a detailed nature of legal environment is to be known. The nature and the scope of legal and commercial environment is very wide and varied. The pieces of legislations which comprise business laws are quite arbitrary. As to the scope of business law, it includes the commercial suits. Now, commercial suits mean suits arising out of transactions in the natural course of business of merchants, bankers, traders, insurance, exports and import, finance and so on. All relevant laws which have to be referred to the concerning nature of dispute is of importance. It is fact that it is not possible for a person to know all the laws of business, but a PR should have sufficient knowledge of law to deal with the different aspects of business. Yes friends, now we come up to the last video of unit number 2, that is theories used in public relations. We have got 4 theories: the system theory, the situational theory, the social exchange theory, and the diffusion theory. What is a theory? Now, theories predict the way things work or happen. They provide an understanding of relationship between actions and events. Public relation practitioners consider several theories when they take a decision about how they can build successful relationship with their publics. Now, you find theories provide a useful starting point for planning of public relation activities for external publics of an organization. Now, in this study, it will be included a model trial for the same. Let us go into the first one, that is the system theory. System theory essentially works from the premises that publics like customers, employees and neighbors, all these form a kind of social environment for an organization. The reason system theory is of particular concern in public relation is that adjustments require feedback. Adjustments require feedback. It explains how public helps to understand and manage the relationship an organization has with its different stakeholders and publics who make up this environment. Now, system theory is especially useful for public relations because it helps a practitioner to manage the organization's relationship. It emphasizes interdependence between the organization and its internal and external environment. It has 2 systems, the closed system and the open system. Now, in the closed system, it does not seek any new information. It focuses on the history of the organization and makes a decision based on the past performance. As I told you, in the closed system, no new information is taken, focus on history of the organization, and on the basis of the past experience, a decision is taken. Now, in the open system, it uses public relations people to bring back the information on how productive relationships are with the clients, customers, and other stakeholders. So, the system theory works with the publics like customers, employees, neighbors, and all others. Second, we come up to the situational theory. Now, the situational theory of public defines that public can be identified and classified in the context to which they are aware of the problem and the extent to which they do something about the problem. So, awareness of the problem and what they do about the problem. Now, this theory, it explains in depth of the psychology behind public behavior being active or passive in decision making of an organization. PR categorizes people into different categories based on the degree of associations with the variables like recognition of the problem, recognition of the constraints, and the level of involvement. After careful consideration, the PR formulates the strategies to effectively deliver a message to the people. There are 4 categories of public according to the situational theory: the aware publics, the latent publics, the active publics, and the non-publics. Now, the aware publics are those who identify and recognize the problem. Latent public are those who ignore or turn a blind eye to the problem. Active public are those who take initiative actively about a problem. And non-publics are those who do not have any or encountered a problem. Now, situational theory, why it is important for public relations professional? Because it helps them to categorize people into different publics so that they can communicate to the target audience more effectively. Their communications with the aware publics, with the latent publics, with the active publics, with the non-public, all will be different under situational theory. Now, situational theory is important for the public relations professional because it helps them to categorize people into different publics so that they can communicate to the target audience more effectively. Then we come up to the social exchange theory. Now, social exchange theory is a combination of the principles of economics, psychology, and sociology. In the world of business, it implies exchange benefit. The theory states that human being always tries to minimize cost and maximize profit. When trying to develop a relationship with someone, we look at the benefits we may derive from that relationship. But the benefits are great and we may express ourselves to the other persons more and develop a close intimacy of bonding with the person. Social exchange theory tells that how we perceive a relationship is based on these factors. What we give in and what we get in return. We all have our ideas about the kind and the quality of relationship we deserve, and there is always a possibility of having another person with whom we can have more fulfilling relationship. And the last theory, we come up to the diffusion theory. The diffusion theory is one of the most popular theories of public relations. The theory tries to explore what is it about communication that shapes our opinion and makes us think in a particular way. Why is some communication more effective than others? Now, your diffusion theory, it talks about 5 different steps: the awareness, the interest, the trial, the evaluation, and the adoption. Let us look into the individual aspect of it. Awareness. The organization must do research to find out its target market and audience. Once it is identified, the role of PR specialist is to launch the campaign in the identified market to create awareness about the product or services of the organization. So, identification of the target market and the audience is the first step to create an awareness. Second is the interest. Once the companies are successful in creating interesting people, they would like to have more information about the product and services. At this point, the company should provide more information of the utility of its product and services. The third one is the trial. Giving people or customers a product of trial is a good strategy that the companies do when launching a new expensive product. Fourth one is the evaluation. Now it is necessary to evaluate initially the consumer behavior in order to know whether the behavior is in the favor or not. And last one is the adoption. If the consumer is fully convinced of the product, the consumer is likely to buy the product or service. If he is satisfied, he may share his feedback to some of his friends. But in case if he is dissatisfied, it will reach hundreds of people, and bad experiences are shared more than good experience. Remember one thing. In the context of PR, it must be remembered that information reached to the largest demographics. So here we end to your part 2.